Hey, so it's been a few weeks since I made a video, and it's because I've been sick. Um, I'm filming this on Saturday, the 22nd. Not sure when I'm going to get it uploaded, but I have been sick almost 2 weeks now. Just a sinus infection now, but it was a lot rougher toward the beginning. So I'm hopefully going to be over it soon because it's really gotten in the way of a lot of things. But if I have a coughing fit throughout this, that's why. I wanted to kind of talk about my jobs because there are some changes coming up and I'm not really sure what the answer is to this problem. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Let me know your ideas down in the comments. Just, you know, I'm setting out some parameters in the video, things that will and won't work. So just make sure, it's constructive. I've been working for Lyft full-time since May, and sometimes there are lulls in Lyft where I don't make much, and there were a few times where Lyft just forgot to pay me. So those times kind of scared me, and I got my part-time job working at Target. But when I started working at Target, those hours started cutting into the hours that I was working for Lyft. And that, I think, overall reduced my income for the month. And I have sort of got that fixed. I've got it to where they just will not schedule me more than 20 hours at Target, and that means that most weeks I'm working 60 hours, which is a lot, but right now I need the money. So there's a couple of changes, and I feel like this is like one step forward and two steps back. You guys know my life, but here's what I've got going on. I got a raise at Target, and it wasn't for anything in particular that I did. It was just because Target has decided to raise their minimum wage across the board from $11 an hour this year to $12 an hour by the end of this year, and then by 2020, which surprisingly is not that far away, it's going to be $15 an hour, even for the lowest positions. So, with that being the case, I just got my bump up to $12 an hour. I got paid yesterday. It's not on that check. It'll be on the next check. So that's an extra dollar per hour worked that I can put towards something else, and it'll get me a little bit further ahead in getting myself back to being financially stable. With that being said, I am now having an issue with Lyft. About 2 weeks ago, we got an email from my boss's boss, who is the head of the entire program, and he said, hey, you guys are not meeting your goals. The program's going to get shut down in 2 weeks if you don't meet these goals. And the biggest problem we had with this is that we didn't know we had goals. It was just, hey, go out and earn as much money as you possibly can. And to this day, I don't know what the goals are. They just never told us about them. The email was sent on a Friday night, and it said, okay, well, whoever gets the most activations by Sunday gets to stay in the program. Everybody else is getting fired. Well, I never heard anything more about it. Maybe it was me. I don't know. Maybe I was the one that got to stay. But what I can tell you is that today I received another email that said that due to the numbers dwindling, due to Ohio, Michigan region, which I'm in, being the lowest in numbers of all of these offline recruiting programs for the whole country, that they are taking away the ride bonus. Let me back up a little bit. When I first started working for Lyft, you got $5 per ride you did with Uber. So my thoughts about this, especially when my car, got the screw in the tire, couldn't afford to fix it, I was like, okay, not only is this my way to get around, but if I want to make the equivalent of $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, $600, then I just need to do 125 Uber rides in a week. It takes a lot of time. That's 30 or 40 hours in a car, but it's totally doable. And that's what I started to do. is I started to do 125 or more rides per week. That got me my $600. And then anything that I got in bonuses for people actually signing up and driving, that was just extra money. But after about 2 weeks, that ride bonus was taken away. And I've mentioned that in some of the previous videos. Then it was commission only, basically. It was only the bonuses you get from people actually getting approved and driving. Well, sometime after that, they reinstated a bonus, sort of. They didn't do the per ride bonus, but they gave you $60 per lead submitted. However, they changed the definition of the lead. The lead was no longer just getting the driver's information and submitting it. It was doing that, plus having them fill out all of their information, the vehicle information, uploading their license, registration, and insurance, and then submitting for the background check. And then, whether or not they got approved, you got $60. But that's a lot more work. And there's also a lead tracking system where they start... Neighbors are screaming at each other. And anyway, it was double or triple the amount of information that I normally would have to collect. So we started doing more work for less pay, basically. Now, I knew getting into this that this was a great opportunity, and it just came up right at the right time. Right when the thing with the tire happened that I couldn't afford, and I wasn't completely screwed because this new opportunity presented itself. But as I started doing it and started seeing that I was always the top recruiter every month, and getting all this the praise from my bosses and everything, and seeing that, and then having them show us these people in other markets like LA and Chicago that are making $200,000 a year doing this, and then me breaking down the numbers and seeing, yeah, something like that is actually possible. The problem with it is this. To be realistic in Columbus, if I did Lyft, Uber hopping, 5 days a week in Columbus, full-time, 8 or 9 hour shifts, I don't think it would be a problem to get 2 leads for each of those days. But there's a lot of assumptions that have to go into that. Number one, that person has to go beyond just giving me their information. They have to fill in all the information and upload all those documents that I mentioned before. That's to get the $60 for each one of them. Then once they're approved, assuming they're approved, then they actually have to go out and within 30 days do 20 rides. That's what I actually get paid on. So there are so many variables and benchmarks to meet along that road that at each one of those benchmarks, a lot of the people fall through, right? But if I were able to get 2 per day, that would be $120, 5 days a week in just people submitting their lead. And then assuming that, so that'd be 10 people a week, that would be $2,000 a week, assuming that they all got their rides done. Now obviously it's not going to be 100%, it's not going to be anywhere close to that, but potentially, we're looking at making at least 4 times what I make now. That should be able to happen, but in actual practice, that's not what's been happening. So with the email today that I received from my boss's boss, it basically said that they are no longer giving what they call cash bonuses. I didn't even know what that was, but apparently that's what I've been referring to as Lyft Paycheck. It's the one that's direct deposited every week rather than what I can cash out of the app. So not only has Lyft been just down overall since like July, which is why I got a part-time job to supplement it in the first place, but now they're taking even more money away, meaning that it's going to be even more inconsistent. So I'm not going to quit Lyft. I think it is a great opportunity, and I think that I can manage to still meet the minimums even if I do something else. And here and there, I'll make an extra couple $100, but it shouldn't be my main source of income. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start applying for jobs again. And I haven't been doing that for, well, really since April. Since I made that video about finding out why I'm not getting jobs, I mean, it just seems like a waste of time because I can't get hired anywhere, and they said it was because of my credit. But yet then I got hired at Target. So I got one company that says I can't be trusted to handle money orders because I have bad credit. And then another company, a more reputable company, Target, hires me as a cashier where my actual job is handling cash all day. But that's totally cool, right? So, I mean, it doesn't match up. It doesn't make any sense. But there are some other reasons why I really, up until this point, have not really been able to get a job, a standard, typical job. From October 2016 until about May or June or so of this year, 2018, I've been acting as my mom's attorney and her legal guardian. So I have some duties as her acting legal guardian, and then I have some duties as her attorney, obviously what an attorney would normally do. It's kind of an interesting situation because I have no formal legal education, but I was recognized by that particular court to act as her attorney in the courtroom. So I know I've gotten a lot of comments saying, oh, you wasted so much money going to your mom's hearings. And I'm like, well, I would have gone to jail otherwise, so I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, now that mom finally has an attorney, he's taking care of most of that stuff. And that opens up a lot of time for me. That was why I was able to get the part-time job at Target by July, because I did not have to have 100% of my time free where I had to set my own schedule. Now, it is still pretty freeing having a full-time job that you can schedule as needed. Basically, I just work around Target's schedule, and that's easy to do because it's only 20 hours a week. So that's one thing out of the way toward me getting a stable, steady job. There are some issues, though, of balancing what exactly to do. I cannot quit Lyft. I want to have the opportunity to still make those bonuses, that if I go out and recruit, I want to make $400 in a day. But I also just can't quit it, even if I wanted to give up on that opportunity for bonuses. And that is because my car is not fixed. So being a Lyft recruiter is the way I get around. I use those free Uber rides to get groceries, to go to my job at Target, literally to do everything. So I cannot quit Lyft because I don't have my car fixed. Now, when the car is fixed, that will become more of a potential option, but it's just not right now. And at least for several months, it's not going to be an option. So I have to keep that job. But I do make my own hours, and as long as I hit the goals, they'll be happy with me. I don't have to be the top recruiter in the bi-state area to stay in the program, but so I can cut those hours down a little bit. The other side of it is Target. So I did get the $1 per hour worked, so in the mindset of saving, I'm just thinking of how I'm going to allocate that. I got the $1 raise per hour, and that's going to help overall a little bit with income. But you know, some people in the comments have suggested working at Target full time, and I just don't think that makes sense, because if you look at $12 an hour times 40 hours a week, okay, so if my math isn't wrong, it's $480 a week. That's really just not enough. When you look at my budgets for my videos, I would not even be able to pay my basic minimum payments, let alone eat, if I worked there full time. Not to mention, I would absolutely be miserable. But yeah. Now there is also the option of just going back and applying to be an ETL again. I'm well qualified for that. They start up 65,000 a year. I don't know of any ETL positions, and I feel like it's going to be a difficult road to get into an ETL position because of me already working at the store. They normally hire outside the store, and like I said before, there was a guy from my store who's been there 10 years and has only worked his way up to GSTL, so he's nowhere near becoming an ETL. And so it just seems if you're working at the store, they won't promote you. You have to be hired in from outside. The other issue with that is that they're salaried, and I won't work salary. You guys know I've had terrible experiences with employers, so that's just not going to work for me. The potential there for exploitation is great, and I don't trust any employer not to do that. So, with that being the case, I don't think that expanding my hours at Target is going to help. So I think what I need to do is I need to look more into getting back into an office job, 9 to 5 kind of setting. It would stabilize my income, and this is not going to be an easy thing to do. You guys know how my interview processes have gone in the past. It doesn't necessarily have to be in property management, but if I don't apply for that, I don't know what the hell to apply for. I don't know what types of jobs are available or even where to find out. And quite honestly, if I go to an industry that I've never worked in before, I'm not going to make enough money there, because I'm getting paid both for, well, really for retail a little bit, but definitely for property management. I'm getting paid a lot based on the experience that I have in the industries. So let's say that I got a Tuesday through Saturday 9 to 5 position. And I say Tuesday through Saturday rather than Monday through Friday because almost certainly in property management you have to work a Saturday. So probably Tuesday through Saturday. Well, if I were to do that, then that's going to cause some complications. It'd probably work out fine with Lyft, because honestly, I can Lyft to the job. Or, well, use Uber, Lyft paying to the job. So let's say that takes me 2 Ubers to get there, 2 Ubers back. That's 4 opportunities a day I have to possibly sign somebody up. Not including using it on my days off or anything. So I'd still be contributing to my job with Lyft by commuting to my other job, at least until the car's fixed. I can do the same thing with going to my job at Target. The only problem is, if I were to get a day job, Target might fire me for 2 reasons. The first being that you can't change your availability within 90 days, or it's automatic termination. Now, I started July 16th, so August, September, October. October 16th is when I can change my schedule. We're getting close to that, so that might be doable. But if I change my schedule, my hours might be severely impacted, or I might get fired, because I think my availability might no longer line up with what they need. Almost everybody who's a cashier is in high school, a few in college. There's only 5 of us that I can think of who are not in those situations. So that's why we all got we were all night shift, and we got moved to morning shifts because nobody else was available in the mornings. Well, if I start working 9 to 5 in another job, then I'm going to only be available in the evenings for very short shifts with Target. And then they're going to want me to work Fridays and Saturdays. Those are the busiest days, and maybe Sundays too. But if I can't work Friday and I can't work Saturday because I'm almost certainly going to be required to work those days wherever I get a job in property management, if Sunday's the only day I can work, I either just won't get hardly any hours at all, or they're just going to be like, yeah, I mean, this just isn't going to work for us. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I got to figure out a way to juggle those 3, and I think the way to do it is probably start applying the jobs I get interviews for, I'll find out what the schedule would be, and then try to figure out if that is going to work with the other things. And one thing I will say is once I get the car fixed, it's going to gain me a lot more time. Basically, commute times will go down a lot. But it'll also phase out some of the work I'm doing for Lyft. I don't know, though. It will gain me some more employment opportunities. Because right now I have to get something that is like a reasonable number of Uber rides away. And just in case somebody doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm limited to $15 for each ride. I can take unlimited, but like, for example, if I were to work in New Albany, where a lot of nice complexes are for apartments, well, you know, that might be a $45 Uber ride one way. And the only way that I can do that would be if I take 3 separate rides to get there, right? And it takes longer than you think, because it's the actual commute time plus the time from getting out of the first Uber and then requesting the second one and waiting for them to drive to you from wherever they are. So it does take a long time to get anywhere. But, you know, in my transportation situation, that's what I have to deal with. So that also is something that I'm worried about, but I know that however I do it, wherever the money comes from, once the car's fixed, it will open up some more opportunities for me. I just know that starting this week, the 24th, I just won't be getting my $100 or so that I normally get from Lyft, and I just can't sustain any more income cuts. So it does make things really difficult. Trying to schedule Target with any other kind of job, I just don't know how it's going to work. And I don't want to quit Target, because Target, I mean, they give me the opportunity where, you know, eventually once I qualify, I'll be able to contribute to the 401k and get a 5% match. Getting a discount on everyday items, and especially food, because some of that you get a 20% discount. It helps, but I just don't know if I can make it work. So, like I said, I'm just going to start applying, and told you guys, coughing fit. But I'm just going to start applying and see where it goes. And if you have any suggestions how I might balance this out, I'm willing to hear them. Just please make sure it's in, you know, within the parameters that I said that I can actually make work. If you have any leads of something here in Columbus, let me know. Or if you have any suggestions of like a type of industry I might not even know about that I could start applying for, that would start out at a decent wage. I mean, it has to be more than $12 an hour, because that's what I get paid at Target. So it wouldn't make sense for me to go anywhere else if it didn't pay at least that much. And really, I need something in the $18 an hour range. That would be comparable to what I made before at my office job. So, well, 18 plus commission, technically. And I know that's probably not what I'm going to end up with, but I need to be closer to that than I am now. Anyway, I just wanted to update you guys on that, and also so that I don't have to go through all that in the budget video. Budget video is coming out. I do have a couple of things that I have to complete this week. Hopefully by Tuesday, I think all that's over with. So I'm hoping next week I'm able to go ahead and finish off the Uber and Lyft video. I'm depending on how long that's taking, I might either put that video up or I might put up the one about things I've cut from my budget, but we'll see. But I just wanted to make sure I put up at least 2 videos this month. But working 60 hours a week, and then being sick for 2 weeks, that's really kind of put a damper on things this month. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You know, if you have any suggestions, let me know. But honestly, like, I'm not trying to be negative about this. I'm actually just pretty happy that I've been self-employed for as long as I have been. You know, when I quit that job at the realtor, I was in no position to live on self-employment income whatsoever. And yeah, I just was able to make it work. And it has surprised me. But I'm proud of myself for doing it. And I don't know what'll end up happening with this whole juggling and job situations, but I'll be all right. I'll scrape by with bare minimum like I have been, or I'll get something and kind of be sort of back on track. I don't know what the solution will be, but yeah, either way I'll get by, and hopefully something just works out for once, and you know, I'll get something and keep working Target and Lyft too, and just work all of the days and get all of the money. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and look for another video coming out next week, and then the budget review in early October.